Sorry.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirannasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavad Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. We just heard about Daksha. Despite being so famous and so powerful and so prestigious, he lost everything, including his head. And then Devahuti, where I was asking Kapila about what are the symptoms of those people who are on a on a higher level of transcendental knowledge, and what does it mean? And Kapila started to explain that they remain equal in the face of both agreeable and disagreeable events, just like Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Sukha dukkha same kritva labha labho jaya jayo. Such a nice principle. And the whole life is basically a practice to come to that point. And we are starting from here. Are you able to read it? Or you want me to read it?
Rastali Mataji, do you want to read?
Okay, I'll read. Devahuti wondered how it was possible to always remain undisturbed. Kapila said, the advanced devotee with transcendental intelligence is convinced he is not the body, but Krishna's eternal servant. He knows his happiness depends on pleasing Krishna rather than anything material. Unaffected by external circumstances, he focuses on pleasing the Lord. By always endeavoring to satisfy Krishna, he is elevated to transcendence, where he enjoys life as much as the Lord himself. Devahuti asked if Jnana and Ashtang yogis who renounced material enjoyment also attain transcendence. Kapila said, Krishna, the Supreme Person, is the complete transcendental reality. However, different yoga practitioners perceive him to a greater or lesser degree. By practicing Jnana Yoga, one can realize his impersonal Brahm feature. The Ashtanga yogis realize his supersoul feature residing in all hearts as the impartial witness and sanction giver. Only the devotees who hear and chant about Krishna can achieve an eternal loving relationship with him. Although they attain different levels of transcendental reality realization, yogis from all three disciplines agree that one must become detached from material enjoyment. All of these processes can help one achieve this. How do they become detached? I have heard some philosophers say that one becomes aloof from matter by seeing it as an illusion. Is this correct? No, this is false. Everything is my divine energy, including this world. But those averse to hearing from me cannot understand this truth because they rely on speculation, accepting only the undifferentiated Brahm as true. They think all variety is illusion. However, the devotees see my diverse energies at work even in this world. They give rise to true detachment. The total material energy, or the Mahatattva, manifests from me. From it I brought forth the false ego, the three modes of nature, the five material elements, individual, consciousness or 11 senses, and the different material bodies. Just as individual bodies develop due to the presence of the spirit souls, similarly, the universe develops due to my presence as the super soul. This perfect knowledge can only be realized by regularly
Okay, we can
and
pause here. Any thoughts, any comments, questions? This is a very, very important thing to remember. This point here. The whole thing is like a whole discussion about this topic. Okay. I have a comment here. This section when Kapila is speaking about how the difference between the devotee and non-devotee. He says, accepting only the undifferentiated Brahman as true, they think all variety is illusion. However, the devotees see my uh, the devotees see my diverse energy that work even in this world. That gives rise to true detachment. I mean, this is so true. In my own personal experience, I'm thinking how the more and more I can see Krishna's hand, or even just believe it, or just become willing to see that all circumstances are controlled by Krishna. People around me, they have their own limitations, and Krishna is, Krishna is giving me exactly the situation I need, and things are exactly the way it needs to be because Krishna wants that. Even in my, like in astrology, there's this Jupiter planet, which has like two aspects to it. One is justice and the other is judgment. So usually we are given with certain circumstances in life that feels unfair. We feel like this should not be happening, why it's happening. But then going deeper into the philosophy, there is nothing unjust. Everything happens for a reason that we do not know what karma we created in our previous life, that now things are happening that that we experience injustice, or we experience that this is unjust. But actually justice is a very much of a concept that internally we make peace with. And how we can make peace? Only by accepting that Supreme Lord's will, by accepting that, like Pandavas, is it fair that they had to be exiled into the forest? Is it fair that Bhima was poisoned? Is it fair the whole Kurukshetra, was it even fair? So there are many questions like that, right? But fairness, justice or not, is very much of an internal idea, at least in like astrology principle, which Parashara, Rishi, and Varaha Mihira, these great sages, they wrote the principles which are relevant for human beings, because that's the stage. This justice and judgment is the stage that human beings develop the most in terms of their progress in their life, in this life, in this body. We develop most when we see that justice from a different angle, from an angle of philosophy and Krishna consciousness. And then the judgment aspect is about, we want something and we think it's going to happen and everything looks like it's going to happen, but then it gets avoided. What is the word? Um, I forget the exact adjective, but it doesn't happen. Like something gets averted. Yeah, that's the word, averted. So that's also Jupiter. So something like we always say in Vedic astrology, oh, Jupiter is a very good planet. If Jupiter comes, everything will be okay. Why? Because Jupiter has that energy to avert negativity, avert those things that are not good for our dharma, avert those things that will not help us in our progress, like that. So, we have a concept, oh, if Jupiter comes, he'll give money, he'll give this, he'll give that. Yeah, but sometimes when Jupiter comes, he'll avert a marriage, or he will avert a particular job or whatever, because that's his way of protecting us, like that. So this point here that when we understand that Krishna is behind, it becomes so much easier, so much easier, like so much peace, so much harmony. Look at ourselves and say, you know what, this is how Krishna would like it to be, especially those things we are finding it hard, right? Like hard to accept, like the internal stuff, right? And then external stuff, we're not getting something, etc. We say, well, this is, Krishna says, Kalosmi, Krishna is the time, and this is not the right time, and he has my back, and so it brings detachment, true detachment. There is a sense of, my mentor often said, develop indifference. And it was always a difficult concept for me. And I'm very grateful for this Bhagavatam readings, because whatever we read in the morning, it churns in my head, and I'm like thinking and researching, reading. And then it triggers in me that aspect of detachment. And it's a very detachment basically means indifference basically means to not get freak not to not freak out that things externally are not the way we want, to not freak out that people are not coming up to the level that we want, and just see that okay, this is the way it is, this is where they are, and to not like lose peace, lose sleep over it, but to remain with that indifference. Indifference is not a bad quality according to Srimad Bhagavatam. And when we are indifferent, we're not bothered by it. So there are some things we should not be indifferent, like sadhana, service. We should not be indifferent. We should give the best attention. But for these things like justice, judgment aspects in life where we feel, oh, this is not fair, why this is happening, that there we need indifference, like that. Anyway, I think I spoke too much. Any comments? Any questions?
One more real life example. Can you explain about detachment, Mataji?
Okay. Like here, okay, look at this paragraph here, which Kapila Devahuti is asking. This is the other extreme. Okay, how do they become detached? I've heard some philosophers say that one becomes aloof from matter by seeing it as an illusion, right? So that's that example we can take in our lives. If we say, okay, I want to become detached from this, anyway, all this family and this and that is all illusion anyway. I want to remain aloof from this, right? And we may become negligent, right? Let's say a baby is sick or something. And then we say, I want to be aloof from this, That's how I should become detached and applying the principles in like not wise way. Okay. So that's another extreme example of the opposite, not applying the principles of detachment in the right way. But indifference in this same situation can be you do your best, but internally you are not freaking out about what can go wrong and why this is happening to me and why it's not, why do I have to deal with this and that. But we just do it as a matter of duty, and we remain indifferent to whatever it is that we need to go through as an austerity. Let me think of another example of detachment. I mean, again, this thing, seeing my diverse energies at work, even in this world. We see maybe our community, okay? And we see all the things that's not right in the community, all the things that is not very ideal. And we see different people at play, different people's minds and their advancement levels, etc., etc. We see. And we can actually see, some of us may feel that, come on, things can be much better. But then a devotee sees the situation and sees diverse energies of Krishna at work. Okay, this is a devotee. They have this particular good quality, but this is where they are. And the other devotee, they are there. And so trying to see Krishna's hand in the circumstances and to try to, that's what like great devotees do. They try to see what um, what is the next right step, what is the beneficial step for everybody, what can I do, where is my circle of influence, where is my circle of concern. Circle of concern is very big usually, circle of influence is very small. So detachment can also mean empowering and strengthening our circle of influence more and more. We becoming clear about our consciousness, keeping our side of the street clean, and becoming stronger in our own faith in Krishna, so that whenever things are in circle of concern, the spiritual energy, the spiritual potency in us can help us to make a greater impact. And in order to do that, we need to edit our life ruthlessly. Means again, going back to example of astrology like that, we all have a kingdom, and there is one particular aspect of our kingdom in life, which is the army. And the army in our charts, the strength of the army is represented by Saturn. And most people, they have weak Saturn, and Saturn is basically the ability to let go. And what happens for a person who has strong Saturn, they don't hold on to resentments, they don't hold on to worrying and freaking out and all that. Ability of a good Saturn means the army is strong, the strength of the army is strong, which means they are not fighting some useless battles, or the army is not wasting their energy. They have it ready for the proper time. If some kingdom attacks, they are able to defend. So that's like circle of concern, sorry, circle of influence, um, power, strength. Mm, I don't know. Is it making any sense?
Yes, Mataji, yes.
Okay, okay.
So
So
basically, you're becoming
most, mm,
detached intelligently, right?
yeah, and most of it is internal adjustment. That's what I'm trying to say.
Ah, very nice. Yeah. Mm.
Change of internal perspective. Detachment, true detachment for a devotee is not so much about externally. He doesn't change anything. He continues to do his job. He continues to take care of the family. Continues, but internally he is able to understand that everything I'm doing is for Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, right? All, everything, my family, and everything belongs to you, my Lord. I know what it's like to perform through pain. Sorry, say that again, please.
Yeah, I really like the way you're saying about how it's actually internal. What I've heard about detachment is when there is actually true attachment to Krishna, right? Then there is natural detachment from all the other things
True.
where we are doing our duties and, we're leaving everything in Krishna's hand.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
sometimes,
I also have the same understanding that we don't need to separately work on our detachment. We just need to work on our attachment to Krishna, and
Mhm.
then the detachment sets in naturally. But like I said, in my experience, individuals who have a weak Saturn, they do have difficulty to let go of those things that the editing part is hard for them. So therefore, there is no space to become attached to Krishna. We need space. If our mind is too clouded with so many preoccupations and so many concerns and worries, it does become difficult to attach to Krishna. So we need cleaning. We need that cheto darpada vaja. We need the cleansing of heart. We need the letting go. And we can pray, Krishna, please let me edit my life so I can make more space for you. Internally also, I'm saying. You may be doing sadhana and all, but there is like this internal processor, no? Always in the background, there are programs are running. Oh, this, oh, that, lamentation. And yes, yeah, like we discuss also on the Sunday meeting, chanting is everything. At the same time, how we chant is so important. There are people who can chant with the consciousness of increasing their pride. Bhakti Vinod Thakur confirms that we can chant and just increase our anarthas. We can feed the anarthas with the
We
power
need
of
to do
chanting.
attentive chanting, for that.
Yeah, attentive
Very
chanting.
attentive.
It's also intention behind the chanting, just not
Yeah,
attention,
yeah.
intention.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Absolutely. Exactly. Attention and intention. If both are right, oof, there is no stopping of our progress in Krishna consciousness. And like you said, Taranirada, on Sunday you were saying how that state of humbly crying to the Lord, in that mood when we approach the holy name, and ask the Lord, please let me do your will. Like that, wow, was the best magical formula. And then and then impossible becomes possible.
Yeah, my God. Yesterday I also had this beautiful experience. It was so beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, just like how you said, impossible becomes possible just because of just letting go and just becoming really aware. you know, that is just
Mm,
Krishna. Radharani's mercy. It's just so beautiful.
true. So true. So it's a balance. It's a balance. Detachment and attachment is a art of balance. See?
Mhm.
We have some more time. I don't know who else is in the room. Tarani Radha is there. Rasastali Mataji is there. Is Rajeshwari Adhika there?
Yeah, she's also there.
Okay. So maybe Tarani Radha, Rajeshwari Radhika, if you like to continue reading.
Beginning, right? The first second
Yeah.
paragraph?
Yeah.
Second. Kapila paused. The
No,
sun
no, no,
and
the
food.
first paragraph. This perfect knowledge can only be realized by regularly engaging in my devotional service. From the first line.
Okay, okay. In my devotional service. Giving up worldly association, devotees constantly immerse themselves in either hearing and chanting about me, praying to and remembering me, or performing their duties for my pleasure. Their only motive is to please me. By such devotion, they gradually achieve samadhi, full absorption in thought of me. They have faith that by prioritizing these devotional activities, all their subsidiary duties will be fulfilled. It's like a Uttamadhikari who thinks like that, right?
Mm. Yeah.
No? But then those who are not at that stage, they're not advised to give up their subsidiary
True.
duties. They should still be
Yes.
doing.
Yes.
I have one more question of you regarding this
Mm.
one.
Mm.
Um, their only motive is to please me. Sometimes devotees, we think that we know how to please Krishna the best. The other person doesn't know how to please Krishna the best. So sometimes there is always some contention at that particular what do you say, with that, like this is the best way to please. My way is the best way, my way is the highway. This is the way to please Krishna will be very pleased the way I'm doing. So that also, I think it's like need to grow out
Mode
of
of
that mentality, right?
it's
What are
passion.
you? What is it?
It's in the
It's
mode of
passion.
passion.
Mm, yeah, that's what I was also thinking. Mhm. Because what really pleases Krishna only, I mean, we will think, but who knows what Krishna is thinking, correct? We will not be able to
Yeah.
understand what Krishna really.
Nobody. Only Radharani can understand what Krishna is thinking.
Mm, okay.
Because
And
we
then the
can, yeah, you said exactly. We may give priority to certain principles and this and that. But then who can understand the Lord who gives mukti to Putana and he gives a position of a nurse? Who can understand those kind of things, of the Lord? That Krishna is, I mean, we understand in theory Bhavagrahi Janardana, but how can we understand what is the bhava of the devotee? How do we understand what was the person's intention? They say, na, we are covered by the four defects, so therefore we usually gauge someone by their actions and ourselves by our own intentions. We think that no, but my intentions was right, but there what they did is wrong. But how do we know their intentions? That's why the path of Krishna consciousness is all about humility and vulnerability, like that. Also, maybe this point here, they have faith that by prioritizing these devotional activities, all their subsidiary duties will be fulfilled. It can also be taken in a very deeper internal way, meaning, okay, I may be doing so many other things at home. Like I have a tendency when I go into the kitchen and I start making something, my mind will start thinking, oh, this pot should be better and the place to keep this should be better and that box should be better. And I always have this the passionate thinking that it's not good enough, it's not good enough, anything I'm doing, whether I'm writing, whether I'm, and this point about faith that prioritizing these devotional activities, then at some point I make peace saying, look, my most important things are, and then deities, and okay, I have to create this, and I have to make a service for the Radha Madhava. Okay, this I should do. But other things, I don't give so much importance. Okay, the kitchen is not maybe perfect. It's okay. The subsidiary duties will be fulfilled. Means I may tell myself that no, my duty is to keep the kitchen perfect or something. But sometimes it depends. It depends on, is my primary devotional service my focus? Then yes, if it is, the rest will be taken care. I don't have to worry too much. I mean, in my case, they're not so much about hygiene or cleanliness, or it's more about aesthetics, or not so essential things. Okay. So what I'm saying is, if I that analogy of the jar and the items like the stone and the sand and the water and the pebbles,
Mm,
that analogy.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm saying this with a tinge of embarrassment, because I'm still yet to apply that. But my husband is always preaching to me about the rocks are the attentive chanting, the right intention chanting. So if I put that in place, all other subsidiary duties like how I'll deal with that, how I'll do that, how I'll write this, whatever other things will get sorted out. But if I
Mm.
first put water in the jar, where is the space for the rock or the sand or the pebbles? So
Mm.
it's also about when the question you're asking is also about prioritizing these devotional activities in ways which we know that they are essential for the soul, and then the mind, and then the body, or whatever, in that whatever is the urgent and important principle. I have difficulty in doing that. I do not prioritize japa as my rock, those rocks. I do not, and therefore I struggle. I'm trying, I'm trying, but I know it in theory. And when I have done it, when I was doing my 64 rounds, etc., that was my everything. And early morning, I wake up, that was my focus. And somehow things would magically sort out it by itself. Somehow, really, I'm telling you, magically is really the word. So I would not maybe have energy and the thing to look into something, but somehow those matters would get sorted out somehow. Somebody will call and give me some tip that sorts out, or something like that would happen. So it's not only for Uttam Adhikaris in terms of internally. Internally, we can also achieve, or how do you say, go towards it. Not by neglecting our duties externally, but by not obsessing over the problems, but to give it to Krishna and give more attention to the service aspects. Like in my case, I know I have energy that can be invested in more reading and more chanting. I know that, but I don't do that, and then I that energy is dispersed in so many things. And even when I'm chanting, I'm thinking of, oh, I have to do that today, and the clients will come, and I have to, there's all that the processing energy is going in all these directions. So in my case, prioritizing can mean no, nothing else. Don't think about anything else. Like when a therapist is with the client, he's not thinking about his son. And when the therapist is with the son, he's not thinking about the therapy So similarly, we need to prioritize. Like when I'm with Krishna, I don't worry about this needs to be done, that needs to be done, or whatever. The subsidiary duties will be managed by prioritizing properly, like that. Okay, I think can be applicable this principle even if we are not Uttama Adhikaris, on that level of prioritizing internally
Mm.
what is where I should spend my energy and where I shouldn't.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, very nice actually.
Like maybe we try to fix somebody in our life, we're trying to like change somebody or control something intensely, and we may convince ourselves very strongly that no, this is my duty. But in this context, it may just be that subsidiary duty that um, can get fulfilled if you first put Krishna there and say, Krishna, your will, and you just sit and chant. Sometimes it's necessary to just sit and chant and let Krishna help us. My one of my mentors says, why you have to carry the heavy load? Krishna wants to carry the heavy load. It's nothing for him. Why do you want to? Why you want to carry on your mind all the anxiety and the stress? Don't have to. Like that. Mm. That kind of faith.
I love that one, Mataji. I love what you said. Hand it over to Krishna. Love that one.
Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Otherwise, maybe Rajeshwari Radhika Mataji, would you like to finish the reading for today?
I think she's not
Because
there, no?
here the sun is setting as we are starting. Of course, for Taruni Radha, sun is setting. So we are supposed to finish this. Yeah, you have a question, Rasasali Mataji?
I said I think Rajeshwari Mataji is not there.
Oh, okay. Taruni Radha, would you like to finish this section?
Yeah, sure, Mataji.
Thank you.
Kapila paused. The sun had set and darkness had descended on the veranda, the air filled with the chirping of crickets. Kapila looked affectionately at his mother, her face illuminated by the lanterns her servant had brought out. His instructions were almost complete that he would soon leave. Desiring to ensure his mother had fully grasped his teachings, he began to summarize them. Wow. My dear respectable mother, a few days ago you asked me to explain Prakriti, the material nature, and Purusha, spirit, the lord of the energy, and their relationship. In reply to your question, I have explained Jnana Yoga, the process for realizing these truths. By this practice of cultivating knowledge, one raises about the modes of nature and eventually realizes that Krishna is everything. He thus takes guidance in Krishna by hearing from him. One may also take directly to such devotional service. Either way, the goal is to realize Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devahuti pressed her fingers together and in thought. Krishna was surely the goal of bhakti, but she was still confused about jnana and Ashtanga Yoga. Were these also directed towards the Lord? Kapila said, the single object of all spiritual practice is Krishna. However, he is seen differently depending on one's process. Consider this example. Kapila pointed to a glass of milk standing on a nearby table. Milk is one, but different senses perceive its different features. To the eye, it is a white substance. To the nose, it is something fragrant, and to the touch, it is cool. To the tongue, it is a delicious food. In the same way, according to the scripture, next page.
Oh, we can pause here for today. According to the scripture directions, you read the whole thing?
It's down also. That is it. Yeah, according to the scriptural directions followed according to where is it? According to the scriptural directions followed, one will perceive Krishna in different ways. Those on the path of Karma Yoga see him as the warder of heavenly pleasure. That's where we stop,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, we can stop here for today and then we'll continue tomorrow. Page 203.
Nice. Hari Bol. Wish you all very wonderful Krishna conscious day. Starting a nice week, right?
Okay, have a good night, Taruni Radha, and have a fantastic day, Rajeshwari Radhika and Rasta Stari Mataji. Hare
You, Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, all the
Hare
best.
Krishna. Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Bye.
Krishna.